a new high school student named Kwon Dagon is being bullied by his classmates because of his nerdy appearance. He became a target for bullying after Dagon asked them to stop it. Classmates beat him until the teacher appeared, who unfortunately also contributed. Bullying Dagon did not receive any help since bullying from classmates remained unpunished. Since then, Dogon's life was full of suffering and he had no one to talk to about it. Since he is an orphan and no one helped him, Dogon felt truly alone during the break. One student saw a piece of paper on Dogon's back on which it was written that he did not have a mother. The student who had previously bullied Dagon admitted that he had done it and said that Dagon has no parents. Another student who found this piece of paper got angry and beat the bully senseless after seeing this. Dagon realized that even the bully themselves can become targets of bullying if they are weaker. When Dagon returned home, he looked at his emaciated body and realized that he had become a target for bullying because of his frailty and appearance. Thus Dagon finally decided to become stronger than anyone else so that no one could bully him. Since then, Dagon no longer went to school and decided to stay at home to concentrate on training. Dagon worked hard even without paying attention to it. How much time passed, his body became taller, more massive and strong. When catching up at the end returned to school, people were confused because his physical form changed very much and he also became very handsome. The girls even started liking him, but most of the guys decided to stay away from him for unknown reasons. It turned out that all this happened because of Dogon's poor reputation at school during his absence. At this time Dogon often spent time on the street fighting with people he met on the street. One day Dogon's name became very unknown. Just one night after his important role was terminated. Era of bloody conflicts in the Inking region, Dagon was able to end a long conflict in just 1 week by shooting down the people involved in it. He not only ended the conflict but was also recognized as the leader of this area and no one dared to oppose him. Unfortunately, because of his actions, Dogon was removed from studying at school, so he could not participate in educational activities like regular exercises. He was suspended for some time due to poor attendance. Due to a long absence from school, Dogon had poor grades and was in danger of expulsion. So Dogon had to take a qualifying exam and work temporarily, working part-time at a convenience store to provide for his daily needs. Meanwhile, he was busy studying to pass his exam, and his part-time job did not have time to take care of himself, and he looked more like a grown man. During one of his shifts he was harassed by several young men who wanted to buy cigarettes and drinks at a convenience store. It's strange that even with the manager present, the old man ordered Dogon to deal with the young man and solve their problems. Outside the store, when they went outside, Dogon gave them 3 seconds to leave before he hit one of the young men with such blows that he lost consciousness. Soon this man's friends attacked Dogon, but he easily defeated them all, leaving only one person who finally realized Dogon's true identity as the leader of this area. Realizing that they could not defeat Dogon, the group apologized and Dagon was able to peacefully end the conflict. However, Dogon did not know that a woman from the Golden Dragon Education Foundation was able to secretly record the incident and tried to contact Dogon to make him a lucrative offer. The organization is planning a project to fight gangs known as IL wives or school bullies by sending a secret agent to take over the leadership of one of these bands, and this Kwon Dagon becomes an agent and eventually manages to enroll in high school at the age of 20 without having to take an exam. Dagon becomes a transfer student in high school where he gets into trouble from the first day trying to protect his deskmate from Ilna. Despite the fact that the bullies were very large, however, the regulations established by the Golden Dragon Education Foundation forbade him to use violence. Ultimately, Dagon cannot stand it and knocks Ilna unconscious, and it was not just one person, but 2 whole people until their boss finally comes, and he turned out to be not a weakling at all. Unlike of the previous 2, this boss of the manhwa is quite strong and is able to bluff when attacking, which earns Dogon's respect. Moreover, Mahu has real fighting skills that surprise Dogon several times, and he even thinks that the attack could have hurt him if his reflexes were a little slower. Nevertheless, Dagon is still equally easily defeats the manhwa with just 3 hits, after which Manhattan and promises to punish everyone who dares to bother him. Classmates, at first glance, Dagon may seem scary, but he is also kind and sympathetic. However, the fight between Dagon and Manhattan was recorded by one of the students and then spread among the rest of the students until the third grade. After the end of the noise in the class, studies finally began and Dogon seemed very concentrated, not paying attention to the girls who tried to tease him. Even when the leader of the second grade came into conflict with the Manko, Dagon expressed his dissatisfaction, saying that they were talking too loudly and he could not concentrate. Because of them, the second-year student was in pain after Dagon let him go. Min Rong attacked him, but Dogon easily dodged his attack and responded with a blow of such force that Min Rong hit Orok immediately, which surprised all observers when Dagon tried to continue his studies with a group of students from his third grade led by Sim suddenly surrounded him despite the fact that was stronger than the other students that Dagon had encountered. He was not at all afraid, he even boldly mocked Samba, considering him a weakling for coming with useless people. This angered Samba and he offered to meet with Dogon after school, which greatly confused Dagon because he did not expect that his first day at school would be so chaotic after this decoy, and his people unexpectedly decided to help Dogon in the fight against the Anpa, because they would rather follow Dagon than be a punching bag for the Sampa. Despite the fact that Dagon was not very interested in them, Malam followed Dogon everywhere. They even warned him against Sampa attacks since they knew about Sampa attack patterns. Since Dogon was accompanied by Malam and others, they became the center of attention of other hooligans, and one of them tried to mock Dogon, but he managed to restrain his emotions before the fight began. Dagon realized about the agreement with the organization that hired him and decided to stop it before the Samba fight, because otherwise his identity will become known and he will return to his previous painful life. In this situation, Dagon decides to go outside but stumbles upon a student who previously wanted to bully him. From this student, Dogon finds out that is using his classmates as punching bags, and so he decides to stop this. Before the battle, Dogon beats one of the largest students very easily with one strong blow, which causes Samba's rage and he comes out to meet him. Moreover, Dogon's passage to the third grade also attracted the attention of other students who want to witness the battle between Dogon. When the crowd gathered and the place was prepared for the battle, Samba began to attack quickly and hard to deliver hard and fast blows to Dogon. Samba delivered successive blows from which Dogon used impulse to launch a very strong counterattack on Samba. Even though Samba strengthened his defense, he still felt a lot of damage from Dagon's punches, but that wasn't the end yet. Dagon took advantage of Samba's weakness, who relied more on punches, and started kicking him repeatedly until Samba finally did not experience any difficulties, and standing he did not give Samba a chance to respond to his attacks. Dagon mercilessly continued to beat Samba, who could not dodge as his legs were already in pain. In this situation, Samba could only defend himself until finally his back hit the wall and he could no longer keep his distance from catching up. Everyone who watched this realized that Samba was no longer able to fight and could only survive in this situation, as if Samba himself had turned into a pear, and Dagon continued to beat him without allowing Samba to rest. Unable to withstand successive blows from Dagon, Samba finally realized that he couldn't win, and then his body became sluggish. But even though Samba was already defeated, Dagon gave him 10 seconds to get up and become his punching bag again. As time passed, Samba realized more and more that if he didn't give up, then he will receive even more injuries. Therefore, Samba finally gave up, admitting his defeat in front of Ketchup, which of course shocked everyone who saw it, not expecting that Ketchup was so strong. However, some people think that Dagon is still hiding his main skill because he knows that the attention of those who is drawn to him saw this fight and they will continue to watch him from afar. Moreover, Samba still could not come to terms with his defeat and vowed to take revenge before the race later. Not only that, but Samba's defeat became hot news at school. Despite the fact that it was his first day at school, Dagon has already eaten 3 classes, forcing other classes to be wary of students, especially hooligans, who began to pay attention to Dogon, and some of them decide to act before Dogon eats their class manhwa that Nara or not, but a fight awaits him, which he does not want to go to. Regardless of what Maha said, Dagon plans to go home but saw the principal's car parked in front of the school and couldn't resist going into the car with her. The principal commented that Dokkan made a mess his first day at school. Dagon thought that he would be punished for his reckless actions, but the principal said that there is no punishment for catching up because the organization plans to change its plans and in the future is going to introduce rules that could expel Dagon from school. So Dagon decided that he would no longer restrain himself in fights. However, on the other hand, he thought that he was being watched and perhaps the school sent a spy to keep an eye on him. Despite everything, the director gave Dogon a new home, which Dagon saw as a luxurious apartment that he would never be able to enter before. The house was previously occupied by the director, and now it has become a home for Dogon, who also receives the director's allowance for his daily railways. The next day, Dogon was called by the teacher due to the mess he had created the previous day. In this situation, a woman named Naina watched Dagon from a distance, thinking that Dagon had something that he was hiding. Moreover, she also saw that Dagon had contacted the director yesterday. When Dogon returned to class, he began to suspect those around him, believing that there was a spy among them. His suspicions were mainly directed at his neighbor in his desks named Munsu, especially after Munsu strangely began to wear glasses, which he had not done in the previous days. But after an explanation Misu about his concern about his image in class, which is why he prefers to wear contacts instead of glasses, Dagon began to consider him more friendly. Dagon temporarily became suspicious of him. However, when Dagon was heading home, he was secretly pursued by Gina, who wanted to know more about him. Gina was wondering what kind of relationship Dogon has with the director. His wife suddenly sees how Dogon is being watched by other students from another class looking like a group of hooligans. When Gina is watching Dogon, one of the hooligans notices her presence but thinks that Gina is watching him in secret. In this situation, Gina was forced to use a spray for self-defense against bullies, which attracted the attention of other bullies to her instead of continuing to follow Dagon. When Gina was at a dead end and wanted to cry, Dagon came to help her. Dagon could not restrain himself any longer and asked if the bullies were following him to such an extent. Instead of avoiding him conflicts, Dagon boldly challenged them to move to a calmer place. Although the bullies and Gina were confused as to why Dagon did this, they simply followed his wishes and followed him. When they arrived at their destination, there were already two bullies from other schools who ordered them to leave because they were already here. But after one of them mentioned the name Kim, the hooligans decided to leave, which also made Dogon realize that Kim Won was behind all this. After that, 4 people surrounded them and drove them to the rut, and Gina looked at them from behind when one of the most big hooligans lighted a cigarette and exhaled smoke in Dagon's face. Dagon got very angry and easily sent him to the ground and then hit him hard in the face with one fist, and the hooligan lost consciousness. With this scared the rest of the hooligans, but they had no other choice but to fight, otherwise they would have been beaten. Kim Won and his people for taking too long to act. Dagon began to attack. He beat each of them in turn. The blows of the catch-up seemed powerful and strong, so much so that the opponents lost consciousness after one blow. However, when only one person remained, the catch-up almost passed edge because he could kill them all if he went too far, so he stopped the fight. It's funny that one of the hooligans even had a dream about being chased by Dogon when he was unconscious, which further emphasizes how scary the skills of Dogon are. When everyone started to catch up with themselves, ordered them to line up to interrogate them. But what Dagon did not know was that the 2 hooligans who were here earlier saw what happened and immediately reported it to Kim Won, who could not believe that one person could defeat 4 at once. In this situation, Dagon also asked what Gina was doing here that made her leave, since she did not want to be involved in this violence. After Gina left, Dagon ordered the bullies to bring him someone named Kim Won, to which the hooligans agreed because they thought Dagon was worse than Kim Won. However, even after the 3rd period, Kim Won still didn't show up, so Dagon decided to visit him himself in the 6th grade, and when he got there, he was laughed at by the queen of the 6th grade, BK Suzy, who immediately hit him until his glasses fell off because she thought that Dagon was making noise in the class. Suzy, who always scolded Dagon, suddenly fell silent and was amazed by the beauty of Dogon, who now did not wear glasses. A little time later, Kim Wong appeared and beat a big disciple named Yang Jino. This made Dogon realize that in front of him was Kim Wong. When Dagon wanted to confirm his identity, Kim Wong admitted, smiling, gone threatening, when Dagon and Kim Won stood in front of each other. Other students of the class just looked at them in fear, but now Dagon didn't care what others thought about him, and without further ado he instantly directed his blow towards Kim Won. However, his blow was intercepted by another student from the 5th grade named Yuki. Dagon praised Ji Asaki for being able to withstand his attacks, but this however was not enough if Ji Asaki wanted to defeat him. Soon Jiyasaki realized that Dogon is very strong and he has no chance of defeating him, therefore Jiyasaki tried to divert attention by saying that Dagon had no reason or evidence to accuse Wang Wang of being the brains of this whole scheme, while Dagon continued to beat up Yang Chim and create misunderstandings. Dagon realized that he needed concrete evidence to prove that Wang Wang was guilty, otherwise he himself would look bad. So at that moment Dogon decided to retreat in order to collect evidence that could overturn Van Vank on the other side. After Dagon retreated, it became clear that Van Van was preparing something with another school to destroy Dagon, and one of the students from another school wanted Dagon to come with her because he wanted to have fun with that girl. The next day Yang Chin Ma came to Dogon's class to apologize, and he invited Dogon along with Gina, but unexpectedly another friend named AKA came with them. When they went outside they found that a group of students from other school was already waiting for them by the road, and the genie and Dagon were angry because of this. While Aga did not understand anything from all the students of other schools, one of them with a large physique and with AC rank named Mince intended to start a fight, thinking that he could defeat Gon. One-on-one Dogon was not afraid, but on the contrary, provoked him to attack. When Mince Nyan came up to attack Dogon, he instantly grabbed the big guy. When one of the Mince Yunas told him to surrender, Dagon did not let him go, but rather strangled him to death, which amazed all the witnesses because Dagon could kill a person so easily. Dagon already knew that the people there had the intention of killing him, therefore he had the same intentions when he began to encounter them in this situation. Dagon immediately ordered the genie and Ake to leave, and he himself decided to complete everything by facing 9 students. To the surprise of everyone, Dagon was able to defeat 7 of them at once in a short time, leaving the last 2 bewildered. They realized that Dagon was an unusual person, but when Dagon thought that the fight would soon end, even more people came to attack him. One of them even brought a baseball bat with the intention of using it to attack him. Catching Up, the situation was getting worse for Catching Up, and then everyone was surprised by the appearance of Mince, who brought with him the Brotherhood of Strong Guys. Their followers from the first class, not only Mince of his Brotherhood, but also Yang Chimo, were tired of the way Wang Wan treated them, and so Yang Chima decided to help. Before Gon he told Mince what happened and he reported it to the Brotherhood, so eventually a situation arose in which Dogon had to face 2 bullies from other schools, while Mince and his followers, along with Yen Chimo, faced 8 people and had to win, though would be 1 or 2 of them even though the enemy has weapons. Mince and his followers also secretly carried weapons in their bags, therefore the man with the baseball bat was not a problem for them. Eventually NSU was able to prove his skills by quickly defeating the man with the baseball bat. When the bully tried to attack NSU, his followers immediately defended FO, so not only did they fight not smart, but they also protected each other. Mince and his followers fought 8 people at a time, while Gon fought 2 bullies named Ajin Man and Shand. Every time Youngda Man grabbed Dagon, he managed to respond to the attack, but then Chan In-woo hit him to distract Dagon, and Yi-Jan managed to grab Dogon from behind with a smile. He thought that this would be the end of Dogon. The young people attacked Dogon, approaching from behind and tightly grabbing him. Dagon was very surprised. Dagon tried to break free with all his strength. He tried to push his body left and right, up and down, but it didn't work. The young man's grip was too tight. Dagon realized that the young man was going to perform a BC suplex move in wrestling that can kill an opponent if they hit him, and the back of Dagon's head found a way to block the young man who was about to throw him by grabbing the wall with all his strength. When he felt that the young man was having difficulty performing his suplex, Dagon instantly threw himself to the ground and thus freed himself from his grip. Quan quickly stood up and prepared to attack the young man. He was about to hit as hard as he could. Suddenly he felt a blow from behind. With quick reflexes, Dagon instantly dodged a blow that could have hit him in the head. It turned out that it was the genie who attacked him. He really didn't like it because the genie and the young man were on good terms when they fought together. After Dagon saved Gina, Gina said that she would continuously attack Dagon and asked Ju Min to protect him. Before June Man could respond, Gina began throwing kicks towards Dagon using her left hand. Quan resisted Gino's blows and even noticed what Gina predicted his attacks. Dagon tried to attack down and deflect the direction of his attack, but it turned out that Gina read his prediction and easily dodged the attack. Dagon realized that Gina was keeping a distance from him to attack with her feet or fists, providing a long attack. Not only this, Dagon also realized that in this fight the attack was carried out by Jin in collaboration with a young man who was preparing to attack him. When Dagon weakened for a moment, he had no choice, and Dagon felt that first he needed to defeat one of them. Dagon concentrated and began to attack Jin with his fists, reading the movement of Jin and Jun mana. As a result, he was able to defeat both. After a successful victory, Dagon threatened the young man and said that they should not create problems for the friends of the Golden Dragon. Dagon's friends, who were still annoyed, thought that they needed to give them a lesson, but unfortunately Dagon refused, declaring that he was tired. He had enough problems with the enemies. Dagon thanked his colleagues who helped him and apologized to Araya and Gina, who accidentally got into their fight, unlike Era, who blushed and thanked Dagon for his help. Gina had a very angry face. She said that no matter what the reason was for Dagon, his friends are no different from opponents with whom they fought, and that solving a problem with force is a very bad way. That's exactly what Gina said before taking Ira's hand and leaving immediately. Having heard this, Dagon could only remain silent on the way home. Gina, feeling guilty for her words addressed to Ari's friends who saved them, apologized to Arya, but Arya, realizing that Jin had reasons for anger, as before, realized that Gina's gate, who was hospitalized, must have become the reason for her anger. Meanwhile, Jin Ba and his accomplices decided to beat up Kin Vanka, who always looked down on them and behaved how the boss. Now Jinma became the boss, and just when he wanted to enjoy his day, when the boss Dogon approached him and decided to ask him a couple of questions. Well, the continuation will be released on my Boost, and on it you will find retellings of hentai manga that I can't post on YouTube for censorship. Therefore, if you want to know what will happen next and also watch content without any censorship, then follow the link in the description and subscribe to my Boost.